Hello and welcome to Anfield Road TV. If you are new around here, want to keep up to date on all things Liverpool related news or throughout the season, hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you head over to the Kitmen Kev's channel, well, our channel as well. We've got a chocker show planned this year. But Kev, how are we, mate? Chat, how are we? And being a bit of a whirlwind of the last couple of days, mate. But yeah, you probably see my show last night. It was quite... Of course, we're all a bit concerned, and we don't want to be seeing this season very much be wasted, mate. But how are you, matey? Hope you're good.
I'm good. I'm good. I hope everybody's okay. I'm still the same as I was last week. Zero panic, zero worry. Still 2 weeks left in the window. Over that, I easily a deal can be hashed out by then. And if they haven't already done personal work, we know that the Caicedo one was a bit of a surprise, so we can't compare Caicedo's deal with any other deal that we're going to do. The deal was already the point in contact, or the point of their own personal contract with Lavia was already done and dusted, until Chelsea came into the fray, as we've seen that, they posted out that the Liverpool's bid was accepted, and he was going to go there, only for Chelsea are trying to hash out a better deal. So we should go for people like Harry Maguire or somebody like that, because then maybe Chelsea can take him off.
That's a joke, by the way, on the internet. If you're just tuning in, going, switch that off.
Yeah, we should have gone for Harry Maguire, because anybody we seem to be going for, Chelsea or chasing, so maybe, maybe it's Chelsea have found a way to fire their entire scouting staff and just going for whoever Liverpool are going for, and then just saying, yeah, man, we could save a lot of money here if we just go after who Liverpool's going after.
Yeah, and we'll be getting on to, obviously, it's a chocker show. Bear with 1 second. Always when you live chat, someone tries to ring you. But I'll let Kev take over in a little second whilst I've made it downstairs. But we'll be speaking about, obviously, the Brighton CEO's comments about, obviously, the deal chat. Well, as Russell said, in terms of the Alisson Becker story, that as, well, I wouldn't even class it as a story. It's more it's a rumour that's been flying around the last 24 hours. Russ, if it did bear fruits and it actually come, like, that it'd be more or less the final tipping point for every single Liverpool fan. To get out the placards, get your felt tip pens out and start writing banners, writing on pieces of paper, getting outside Anfield or wherever you are around the world, and go to your Liverpool supporting group and very much kick off, because we'd be in League One if it wasn't for Alisson Becker, especially last season as well. But big up chat, big up, obviously, Russell, big up Ant as well. Yeah, Ant, I did reply to your message on Twitter, mate. Just I should be available. I'm available after this show this evening, mate. So we'll record an episode. Very happy to do so. Big up there, Bright as well. Wiggs, how are we? Big up Jack and chat. Another day to excel. It's another day, and I'm loving the chat, and I'm loving everyone's videos on social media. It's been absolutely fantastic to watch in terms of just getting their thoughts and opinions out. And I've been speaking to a lot of absolutely sound Chelsea fans in the comments over the last couple of nights as well. So big up to all you lads and ladies as well. So it's great when I try my best on the channel to just have civil debates and I don't have my guests shouting over each other even. And obviously try and create debate. Like, we're all adults here. We can think different things and then not just shout at each other. We'll listen to people's comments. We'll try and engage with every single person's comments, but everyone's been smashing it over the last couple of nights as well. I try to feature everyone's comment, but if it don't get round to you, it's not intentional as well, chat. You've all been smashing it. So hope you've all had a very good day. I'll let Kev take over in a little second before someone kicks down the door in my house. But Kev, just speak to the chat in a little second.
I will, of course. Yeah. And Brenda said hi. That's a crack, lads. You're right. No, listen, getting to the Alisson story, which is a non-story, a non-existent story. There's no point in even going into it. There's no point in dwelling on it. I mean, some of the main journals have already knocked that down. There's always been inquiries. People going to send messages to Liverpool. Is Salah available? No, that goes in the clickbait society, and it's out there in the world. And then while they were there, they say, "Any chance of Alisson?" No, he doesn't want to talk to you. And then just carry on regardless. But then the world goes, "Oh my God, if we lose Alisson or this and that." No, There's nothing happening there. They're not going anywhere. Not a hope. If Salah turns down a place like Saudi Arabia, that just shows you how much he is, devoted to Liverpool. So, he could very easily go over there and settle into a very similar culture to his own, and enjoy the fruits of of the rest of his career. But he wants to break records still, and he wants to do that at Liverpool. So, that's a good thing for us. Anyway, let me get through to the comments, and I'll answer a couple of you down there. So yeah, and says, yeah, of course. Anyway, we pass it on. Everybody's saying hello to each other. Philip, what's so funny? What did I say? Must have been something at the start of the show. But it's just usually what I'm there. Jack is playing. Jack is doing the dance.
Right. Peach treaty is being given in my household. Tell
everybody your business.
Tea's ready, so chicken curry downstairs as well, chatting.
That can be reheated in a second.
Yeah,
it's a chicken curry. You know what I mean?
Not a pan of toast anyway. So.
Yeah.
No,
there you go. Anyway, what we were going through. So yeah, Danny Ward to replace Alisson. No thanks, and cheers, buddy. I appreciate that, man. All right, Brian, how's it going? Big up Jack and Spider from
Big up Jen.
Sometimes you can call me Kev. I've been starting to put it into the little boxes there. So because I know my nickname is Spider and all of that, but you can start calling me Kev if you want. And then I'd probably ignore you because then I won't realize you're talking to me.
So I call Kev Wace anyway. So
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Cop Council, what's up? Big up.
Who's that?
All right. I don't know.
Yeah. Can't have you for the lad. I'll drop you the link. You're welcome to pop on this.
Alison ain't going over. Yeah. It's non-news, lads. It's non-news. Hey, Eamon used my name. That's great.
There you go. All right,
that's fine. Thanks, Em.
How are you, Cass? Right.
Very casually getting into this.
Yeah, 64 people in here, chat. If you are new around here, hit that subscribe button down below, everyone. As we said, we'll quickly move in a little second, but we'll read through a couple of the comments and we'll get straight into, obviously, the Brighton CEO's Paul Barber's comments on the Caicedo deal. Interesting reading. We'll go ahead, Kev, just quickly rattle through a couple more of them. And
yeah, no hassle. So Philip asks, because everybody's saying hello to each other besides that, where do we go from here? What are you doing later, Jack? How are you doing? None of this stuff is bothering me with the transfer stuff. There's still 2 weeks left.
I think
we'll get to that in a minute, though. It's the topic.
Yeah. In terms of transfer targets, hence with the thumbnail as well, we've brought up a couple of suggestions, but we want to engage with you, chat, in terms of your potential transfers. There's been a lot over the last couple of days with Sangare. It's not the first time he's been linked with Liverpool. He's been linked with Liverpool a couple of times over the last couple of seasons anyway, especially last year. He's a player that is probably very much available on the market with his buyout, but we'll have a look at his data in terms of what he excels at, really, and a couple of other players as well. I like Gahey as a centre half as well, chat. Obviously, the Palace lad, the ex-Chelsea youngster as well. So he's an interesting target that I'd like us to all look at in terms of his qualities on the ball as well, and potentially.
And you remember the last time we took a Chelsea reject?
Daniel Sturridge.
No. Mo Salah.
Mo Salah.
Just a slightly bigger one, but
that one as well.
Yeah, it's Klopp, man. Klopp works wonders with whatever person, the majority with 95% of the people that came into the club under Klopp, he's done wonders with them.
Yeah, but we'll quickly rattle through all these, mates, anyway. Surely there's more to all this than bids for Caicedo when we've been nowhere near him all season. Jorg will be blamed for all, which was FSG's plan all along. Big up there, Anne. I think we done an episode yesterday where Kev, quickly on that. Are you up for sacking Jorg Skamaka? Because I was speaking to Jack last night, and especially if he fails this season. I know. Obviously, this window. Sorry, he's only been given a 3-month contract.
It's a rolling contract. That's all it is.
So yeah,
he's only interested to get to be honest with you, he's mostly in to get the Szoboszlai deal done. So anything else on top of that was a bonus.
Yeah.
So we didn't expect to get it done as fast, but that came out of nowhere. McAllister kind of crept up on us a small bit as well over that 2-week period. So, but Szoboszlai just came out of left field. He was done and dusted in a couple of days, and all of that. So you have to give props to there. He's good with that market. He's good in the German market. Yeah, he knows his stuff. But
Well, we hope.
I can't understand how we can blame him for anything that players want to do. I mean, if two players choose that they don't want to come here, or money talks with Chelsea. I mean, they're going to the ridiculous amount of money that they're offering players just to go there is a huge point. So
yeah, and that would very much tie into obviously the great comments by Brighton CEO. I'm pretty sure with the comments we'll speak about in a little second, I'm pretty sure he's looking for a job at Liverpool. He was quite obviously quite bigging up Liverpool and good on him. But big up there, Lavanya. Jack has started watching Liverpool since 2006. This is the lowest I've felt, and nothing can make it better. What is done is done, and that's why.
If this is the lowest that you're feeling from 2006 onwards, you want to go back to the 90s.
Yeah, but you might, Lavanya, I'm not too sure how old you are.
Yeah, you might be a young fella.
Yeah, but you might be a young fan, Kev. So it's all good. It's understandable. But it's and hence why my frustration
misery out there
as well, and all of us really. It plays just for such a massive part of our weekends. Like, how many times do we speak with our family members or your mates come around and there might be a rival fan and you wind it up and it just puts us in a shocking mood. I don't know what you're like, Kev or chat. I'm probably not the best person in general anyway, especially after Liverpool lose a game of football. I just don't speak to anyone. It's whack on the TV or whack on a film or
game. I tell people to get out of my way, and then I go and I beat my entire family, and then I go to sleep, and then no, I get slightly upset. I get slightly down on myself, and then I get into gaming or I do something completely away from football, which is a problem with you guys, because if I come on with you guys, then it's straight back into FIFA or something like that. So then it's kind of hard to stay away from football and get your mind off it. Yeah. But no, look, you'd be upset as the next person, but we've got Jurgen Klopp as manager, man. We've got the bones of a really good side there. Bajcetic is coming back as well. The bones of a side is there. Some of our best football played last season is when Bajcetic was on the pitch. So if he was coming in as an understudy to anybody on the left or anybody else who's going to be going into that number 6 role, which we will get a number 6, and then I'd be quite happy with that, because then I would rather stand focus on the defender and actually give people like Bajcetic and all these guys a chance in the team, because he deserves it out of everybody. And Harvey Elliott coming onto that pitch the other day was a breath of fresh air. If he keeps playing like that, that's the kind of Harvey Elliott I want to see, man, just all over the pitch. But I don't want to overwork him. He was overworked last season.
From a development point of view, Kev, that's the most ideal. I think all Liverpool fans have been saying that. I've kept on mentioning it on my channel, and it's quite poignant, really. I'm not comparing both Elliott and Foden, but in terms of the way Pep Guardiola, since he's come in to the first team, Phil Foden, it's been a breath of fresh air. He's been handled correctly. He's not always played every single minute of every single game. He's been an important cog in that Manchester City system. I'd like to see us utilise Elliott in that kind of way, in terms of, as you just said there, Kev, playing him when he's needed, in terms of whether that's 20, 30-minute spells coming in. And I think hit the likes of, obviously, Harvey Elliott, Nunes as well, players, Bajcetic, and players on the peripheral of Liverpool's starting 11 very much get a showcase in Europa League as well, because still I think we will use Europa League as very much a massive training ground session. Depending on how this season is going to unravel in the next couple of weeks and months, then it might take a bit more of a priority further down the line, whether Liverpool find themselves 8th or 10th in the league. Not ideal, but obviously it presents the club and presents a lot of teams in that competition. It's not an ideal, but probably it might be the potential only way Liverpool get back into a Champions League spot, by winning the competition. That's worst case scenario. Hopefully Liverpool can direct this season back on track anyway. I know we're only a game in anyway, so it's not really massively derailed, but I think it could massively be underpinned by the transfers that we do in the next 2 weeks anyway. Big up there, Jose, heavyweight champion. Big up there, lad. Speaking about Kev, big up there, mate. It's on there and can be an no. There's no exclusives. The only exclusive I'm dropping is what I'm having for tea anyway on this channel, so nothing too major. Sorry there, Pan. Where was that one? Scouser. tell you, anyone would go in terms of that amount of money. And fair play, was it, Kev, I don't, and chat, did you see the video that was circulating last night or the night before of Fabinho getting gifted a Rolex from a fan?
Yeah, seen that.
It's another
he dropped
world.
it.
Yeah, he dropped it. Like, imagine dropping like a 10 grand.
And I don't think that was 10 grand. I think that thing was about 50 grand minimum. It's just sitting there kind of looking. He didn't know what to expect. He was just looking at it going like, I would, as much money as he makes, I wouldn't buy that. You know what I mean? So yeah,
oh, that's amazing.
Too much money, man.
It's another world when you go out there as well. But fair play to them, because the Saudi fans and already, as we're seeing around the world, massively getting into the football. And it's great that that part of the world is fully getting all eyes, because the fans, any football fan for that matter, deserves to be seeing their nation or their league or whatnot thrive. Premier League's had a lot of money. Now Saudi, of course, have got a lot of money, and if they want to spend it, let them spend it as well. I don't have any qualms in that as well. But yes, I quickly...
The Chinese league were doing it for years, taking Premier League talent. The Americans tried it 40 years ago. They tried it again 20 years ago. They tried it again more recently. And they'll all just end up getting over the hill players. That's it. Or players that, you know, they know that there's no options out there to go from a bigger club to somewhere else. So, like, let's say your Oscars and stuff that could have gone across to maybe, you could have gone to an Arsenal at the time, which was a poor Arsenal side. And you have all of these, like, Hulk that probably end up at Galatasaray or something like that. So instead of going to these places where the money drops down, they go to China and they go to these and make their millions and then come home. So that's exactly what the Saudi League is.
Yeah. Florentino, Graham, quality player. We'll speak about it. We're looking at the data as well from FBref. But if anyone's got any suggestions, right, but we'll quickly move into the apologies here, chat. We were just breezing through a couple of the comments. Not intentional, but we just want to get and pick up the alarm. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. But
don't physically hit it. You know,
smash it.
Look after your mouse or your phone screen. Don't physically hit it. But thanks, Alan. We appreciate it.
Yeah, there we go. Happy days. But we'll quickly get to this one as well. This is from obviously the Brighton bubble, taking an extract of an interview on TalkSport this afternoon as well. Top quality page to follow in terms as well, all the news and everything. Well, they were when we were getting linked through there, Caicedo, but in terms of Brighton CEO speaking on TalkSport on the Caicedo choosing Liverpool, he goes on to say, Liverpool is a fantastic club for any footballer. To have the chance to play at Liverpool, you'd imagine that they'd be running up the M6. But it wasn't to be. Moses and his advisors decided, for whatever reason, that London was their preferred destination and ultimately Chelsea. Obviously, this puts us in a slight difficult position because we've negotiated a deal. We'd spent many days working with Liverpool. They could have done. Liverpool couldn't have done any more. They were superb and professional throughout. But when it comes down to the player, at the point that it is clear that he wasn't going to Liverpool, we have to go in a different mode. Having negotiated a British transfer, a record transfer, we have to do it again 3 days later as well. Kev, instant thoughts on obviously what Brian
instant thoughts. Caicedo is a Chelsea fan. That's it. You know, if I was, I'd be exactly the same, man. If I was in the days when I used to play football and the time I was over at Leeds, like if you know one club came in one way, like within the days when I played with Manchester United were that big, and then Liverpool had the opportunity to come in, probably similar to Alan Shearer, what he did. You know, that's the only way I can look at it. If you're a fan of the club, you're a fan of the club. It's got nothing to do with the club you don't want to go to. It's just got to do with the club that you want to go to. So he's been seen multiple times down through his life wearing Chelsea jerseys. He's a Chelsea fan. You know, if he wants to go there, he wants to go there. You know, I mean, Declan Rice was one of the guys that always dropped hints about being a massive Chelsea fan in his day, and then ends up at Arsenal because Chelsea didn't come in from because they want if Chelsea didn't go for Moises Caicedo that time, they probably would have been in for Declan Rice. But look, the deal was done and dusted. It shows that Liverpool were working. It wasn't just a surprise thing. As he said, they were working for many days behind the scenes to get the deal done. So, and they said they were professional throughout, and they thought the agreement was happening. So,
that caveats what I've been saying last night's show as well. And big up to Bonto there, mate. I don't know, clarify what you mean in terms of positive. Me, Christ, go and see some of the videos I've produced on the channel this last week. I'm not happy. I'll tell you that now.
Oh, he's probably on about me because I just don't care until the window's finished. Because remember I was saying, I don't care, I'm casual. We'll move on. We'll get the signing done.
Yeah,
we're okay.
As I was saying, it does caveat what I was saying as well, though, Kev, in terms of what we've all said. Oh, Liverpool look like a mess, but Brighton's own CEO's words, as you can see on the screen there, in terms of his interview with TalkSport, we acted professionally and we done it professionally. But it's interesting.
Couldn't have done any more.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting period, very much so, though, Kev, in the next couple of weeks in chat, whether Liverpool do go in a certain direction or whatnot. But I just quickly bring up another little bit of funny news as well, though, chat. Ridiculous. Like, in terms of this comes from Barstool Football as well. And obviously this image did circulate social media. The Howard Webb, Martin Atkinson and John Moss all enjoying the corporate hospitality. Of course they are. At Manchester United last night. What is actually going on? You can all make your own assumptions, really, but probably given 3 points to Man United like they did last night. But yeah, Howard Webb, where's Ryan Babel when you need him, son? Just do another tweet, lad. But yeah, Kev, I know it's probably they're doing their due diligence and being a representative of the.
They shouldn't be anywhere near that stadium.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be working in an office running the PGM oil, and that's what they're at.
Have they all been doing their Manchester United season tickets?
I don't know. I mean, John Moss is a Leeds fan. You know, he used to be James Milner's teacher back in school when James Milner was there. You know, and that's either side of giving Harry Kane a ghost penalty to go from 2-1 to 2-2 there that time in the so, and the linesman kind of giving the thumbs up. Do you see that one? Like, nobody believed. Remember a few months ago I showed you on the video that the linesman just went yes when the Spurs were awarded that penalty after Salah got probably the best winning goal in the history of winning goals, if it was going to be. As you said, Wolves were completely robbed. Oh, Liz even just said it there. Wolves were completely robbed yesterday. Yeah,
ridiculous chat. Man just suplexed him in the penalty area, like Onana, like that for me. I don't know how. That the one thing, and I hope we're only 1 week, match week into the new season, and by all accounts, last night it looks like they've apologised again, and we're only a week in to Gary O'Neill. Gary O'Neill tried his best to be as restrained as he possibly could at first, and when we were all watching it, Kev, we all thought,
does his yellow card get rescinded?
Probably not, because
because the reaction was right, and he's right, so he's right to be upset.
Yeah, and then it was the fact that he was walking towards the manager, and we all thought he was going to the VAR machine, and then but enough of.
I don't know what to deal with that referee. I never heard him as a referee, man. He's like some fella that sells you something out of the back of a van, or he looks like a landlord of a pub. I've never. I don't know what it is, man. He looks like he just wants to sell you something. But just certain referees carry themselves a certain demeanor. It's like, you can understand it, but I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get it, that one. And he made a terrible decision. Why didn't he look at the screen?
Yeah.
Why didn't he look at the screen? Like, Onana took out 2 people yesterday. Not 1 person, 2. Like, his body clotheslined 2 lads, and I don't get it. Look, the result has no pander on us, but it's the right.
Oh, it will if they actually get beat us to top 4 by 3 points next season.
Yeah.
But yeah, Man United, death taxes and Man United getting VAR decisions at Old Trafford. Some things, even when Fergie's not even manager, don't change. Sod them, and we're going to finish above them, hopefully this season. But their midfield got absolutely ran through, and they
were destroyed. They were terrible.
And there was
I don't know how, like, Wolves should have scored 4 or 5 goals in the last 10 minutes alone. They were the curly haired lad up front with them. What's his name? Spanish name. But he was
Sarabia at the PSG. Oh no, he's the winger.
The guy who was playing the forward line, the fellow who not replace Jimenez, but was upgraded from the bench. What's his name? But anyway, he could have scored 3 alone in that period.
Oh, they had like 20 plus shots on target as well, though, chat, didn't he? Yeah. Like, and everyone made assumptions. Everyone, as instances social media is, everyone's going, oh my God, Matheus Nunes. It's like, oh my God. We've went through it about 2 years ago. Like, it's like, just because he's had a good game in Old Trafford, please. Yeah. No. I know we're desperate, chat, and all desperate. Even the club is desperate for midfielders, but
they were bypassed. I'm thinking if United were playing Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, City, or even Spurs, as poor as they can be, yesterday they would have getting ran over, like absolutely bowled. Their midfield is terrible, and half the social media was laughing at the fact that we didn't get Caicedo or thing, and I'm like, well, at least we're bidding for him. What
yeah. I mean? But if you want a little laugh as well after the stream, chat, go and check out all of you got your phone available now, and you've got like TikTok, or go to Wolves' TikTok, just to say it's a bit of good content. They love trolling Liverpool every time we play them, so sod them. When do you think we'll see a solid name linked? Hopefully soon. We'll have a look at a couple of the names this evening, mate. But big up their chat as well. Right, we'll get straight into obviously the first name, chat. If you are new around here, chat, I'm gonna have a quick look at how many likes we're on. Please do, if you haven't already done so, drop a like on the video. Massively helps out the algorithm as well on YouTube. And if you are new around here, as I said, me, Kev, and a couple of lads, we do get on the channel as well. I know we're a Liverpool channel, but rivals are welcome as long as you're absolutely sound. I know a lot of you are anyway, and just chill, relax this evening or in the morning if you are watching on the repeat. But Kev, chat with them now. We're gonna obviously quickly turn to another section of the show. We're going to be looking at a couple of the names. Chats, do get involved. Get a couple of names in the chat as well that you'd like to see.
I can bring them up if you bring the name in the chat. I've got a list of them here, but I can bring them up. I'm going to start with the 3 defenders that are kind of.
We'll start with the 3 centre halves, mate.
Yeah.
Because as we know, it's not just midfielders Liverpool need to have a look at. It's if Liverpool are to bring in, say, a £50 million midfielder, chat, we all want, say, that other surplus money to be spent on either a fullback or a centre half or even another midfielder. So we know we've got cash. It's just a matter of Liverpool, as we know, in the next 2 weeks, to go out there and spend it. Are you ready there, Kev? I'll bring that up in a
Nearly. And I've got 4 lined up for the defense. You just reminded me of something.
Yeah, quickly, PSV kid looks good as well, Dickie. He does, matey. He very much does. And I know a lot of people said, and we spoke over the last couple of weeks as well on the channel, but just look at how good Cody Gakpo has transitioned into the Premier League as well. When certain players, as we've seen in the history of football, when teams and players have bought players, it's just about building that quality round a certain player. They can very much take that individual up to even greater heights. But Kev, you want to get up to start with the centre halves, mate? So
I've got the screen up. There we are. There you go. So this is your choice, your first choice. You said you wanted to come in. It was just you've got a soft spot for this guy, but his stats don't bode the best for Crystal Palace.
The stats don't scream amazingly. But just quickly scroll up so everyone can see who it is.
Mark Gahey is the player in here, so I can Mark
Gahey. He's 28 years old, as you can see there, chat. He's on a reported £50,000 a week as well. I think, and especially the system Crystal Palace very much do play. Play 3 back, 5 back at certain elements in time as well. Can play a 4 back in terms of transition. So for me, I've always looked at Gahey in recent seasons. When I've seen him, certain games, of course, when you do play for a team lower down there in the Premier League, they are a bit more suspect of very much being a lot more open, a lot more exposed in terms of those counter-attacks and certain different elements. But I think he's got the right personality, successful take-ons. As you can see there, he's in the top 17 percentile, which is one of his biggest statistics. But in terms of when he gets the ball, he's able to take on individuals. And how often do we see that? It's certainly an element if you are a Liverpool centre half. In terms of Joel Matip, Virgil van Dijk, when he was in tip-top of form, getting that ball, driving on with it, and then stepping into the midfield, and then just allowing that extra pass into that midfield, or even surpassing the midfield and then passing it into your attacking players, mate. But interesting one. I know his stats don't scream out chat, but I think at the right age, 23 years old, I don't think he'd require probably 50 to 60 million pound fee. But I think for a 23-year-old with a lot of Premier League experience, I think he will come in, and he's notable. Just quickly zoom up if you can there, chat. I think he's left-footed. I might be completely wrong. Oh no, he's right-footed.
Right-footed.
But he can play on the left, as you can see, left-sided centre half as well. So he's very adept at playing in that left centre back role as well. So Kev, you want to move on to your seconds?
So the next choice that might, because we're picking like little personal choices. You've had your like Mark Cahey, and mine is David Hanko. So from Feyenoord. So it's he's been doing really well. I know it's the Dutch league or whatever like that, but your stats still pretty much speak for themselves. Everything's pretty much in the green, and in the style of football that they play, they don't need to intercept the ball too much because the majority of the time they're on the ball, or he's playing late recoveries. So he's not much of an interceptor, but he is a person that recovers late. He can also play in similar to Gahey in the left hand side of that back line, if need be. So you can see, man, he's up in the 1 percentile for even shot creating from a defensive midfield role, you know. So progressive carries, successful take-ons is up in the top 10. Touches in the attack penalty. So he's pretty much a box to box that can play CDM.
That is quite staggering, really, in terms of chat when you do look at that data, and you look at it in terms of similarities. If you're not well adversed in terms of FBref, obviously that section, as you can see on the right hand side there, chat, in terms of similarities, in terms of playing style, age profile as well, in terms of statistical analysis when you compared both players in terms of David Hanko, and obviously the most closest example to compare David Hanko, if you think about Julian Timber at Ajax, obviously moving to Arsenal. Disappointing for the young lad to get injured. It's disappointing for Arsenal's potential title challenge. So hopefully he's got a quick recovery in terms of, I think it was his ACL. So bad news for the Arsenal fans. So quick recovery for Timber. But Kev, I'm liking that data in terms of everyone might go in terms of just quickly scroll down to the interceptions and blocks.
Yeah.
But you've got to take into account as well that
he doesn't allow blocks to happen.
Yeah, he doesn't allow, as Kev said there, and obviously the team he's playing for, Feyenoord, in the Eredivisie, one of the top three teams in that division as well. So when he does come to an interception, it's like probably once every 20 attacks within a game, because they're just such a good defensive, compact team, to say, for example, mates.
Normally when you see interceptions as low as that, it's normally that he's part of a pressing based team, which means that it's not just like an interception is classed really in these kind of stats as a pass from one person on the opposition to another person and you intercept it. But as somebody who presses and wins the ball back, then that's you're winning. That's a ball winning guy. So that's why his tackles and his things are up in that high percentile. So you'd want to see, for that kind of player to come in for a Liverpool side, you'd want to see the tackles up and not the interceptions, because the interceptions basically mean, an interceptor's role would be what Szoboszlai was doing against Chelsea, what McAllister was doing against Chelsea. They're more forward attacking players, but they intercept the ball before they get passes. High up the pitch. This guy presses really late and really quickly, so that he'll either win the ball back really, really late, or he's part of the press that goes up and wins it high up the pitch with the rest of the team. So, look, he's got great stats.
Yeah, I was going to say, even in the progressive carries, and that's certainly an element, as we've seen already this season, chat. I think one aspect which we've all loved of Joel Matip when he has been in tip-top form as well, Kev, and chat, is that ability to step into that midfield, step into that attacking areas as well. When Billy Joel goes on a massive amazing run, I know it was last season or what, he has scored one of those goals. Not many times he does score them, but when he does, it's an absolute corker of a goal. But certainly, as Kev's alluded to there, those statistics in terms of him coming in and being able to play on the ball, it's a massive element to whatever defender comes in, whether that be a fullback or a centre half. But obviously, as you mentioned there, Kev, obviously you can play centre half, can step into those midfield defensive roles, defensive DM if needed as well. He's very versatile. So it's an excellent choice, mate. And you'd hope that David Hanko, how much would he do you anticipate, Kev, for him to be a fee-wise?
He'd be your new James Miller. David Hanko, you can get him for around 30, 35.
25 years old as well.
25.
Great age. So
it's a good age. So yeah, like there's no, from what I've seen touted, if Liverpool come in, you're always going to add 10 million onto the price, whatever he is. So let's say below 37.
Left-footed centre half as well. They're quite rare to come across in terms of European football. You look at Ake when he went, Laporte when he went to Manchester City as well. That's why, obviously, you look at Gavardio going to City as well. He's like, 77 million. They do command quite a big transfer fee, left-footed centre halves in Europe. You look at Bastoni as well. He's one that I do like. But I think it would be a lot of money to get him out of Inter.
And his passing is top. This is the whole season, 87% passing. So that's a ridiculous stat for an entire season. So which means that he pretty much does control the midfield when he's a part of it. So for me, it's an easy no-brainer to get him in as. Yeah, he's the kind of guy that you could bring in as well as other signings because of the lowness of how much he would cost. So anyway, yeah. But I'll move on to the next guy, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to say, Spirit there, chat. Let us know what would you anticipate, or what do you anticipate Liverpool's recruiting staff to very much identify? What would be your perfect age, chat, in terms of if you had to pick a centre half? I think it's difficult when you're trying to get experience. Obviously, you look at players, I know they're not centre halves, but in terms of youth development, you look at players like Jude Bellingham with a lot of thousands of minutes on the belt. But in terms when you look at centre halves, I think it's very much such a difficult position to really buy for, really. But as Spirit said, no older than 24. I think that would be the perfect age, even 24 to 25. Because you look at when we brought Van Dijk in, was he 25, 26 years old?
Yeah, I would do two players that are around between the 25 and the 28 mark, and I would do two players that are under 24. Is what I would do, because you're going to need that kind of balance of experience and stuff. And Liverpool have always tended to have an experienced player kind of come in one part of the window. But all of these guys that we're bringing in at the moment they're fairly young, and the average age has come down. But yeah, for me, it's a no-brainer. The ideal thing would be to spend the right kind of money on a Paulinho and these kind of type of players. But the problem is at 28 years of age, his asking price is just way too much.
It's a lot, isn't it? We'll look at the statistics in a little second as well.
Yeah.
Big up there, Bonkers. Big up, Missy. We all like Laporte. I think he's a tremendous centre half. Hence why, as we've just alluded to, he's went to City a couple of years ago. But I think he's just on the wrong age of his career in terms of when I think he's 28, 29 years old. Laporte he might be a bit older. Apologies, but he's a tremendous centre half. If he was available at the right price, then yeah, I think all of us would say bring him in. But I think he might just be a bit too spenny and a bit too old in terms of, as Kev's alluded to there, and as you've alluded to, Chas, we need to get the right age and right profile. Yeah. But before all that, it needs to be the right quality coming in as well. Kev, do you want to quickly move on to the...
I'm on Benjamin Pavard there now.
Yeah, we were linked with Pavard a very long time ago, a couple of weeks ago anyway, but there was reports linking him with Manchester United as well in the last couple of weeks, but whether that's agent talk. But Kev, you want to just talk us through that, really, mate?
Yeah, no, the first three guys that I was doing was kind of like an ask that I would like, an ask that you would like, and then somebody who's been outside linked, in that kind of way, and then everybody else is going to be somebody we've been kind of strongly linked with going forward for the rest of it. But Pavard, I was just trying to run up some of these stats to see, what way it would work for us, and what we need is a lot of versatility within the team now. We can't have people that are just glued to one position anymore. I think with at least one or two of the players that are coming in, which is why I would love to see a David Hanke, which is why I'd love to. I wouldn't mind seeing a Pavard coming in, but I think he was too Klopp's style. But but either way, I would rather, if I had a choice between Pavard and Inacio, I'd probably take Inacio all day long. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's what Liverpool are missing as well, though, Kev, in chat, in terms of the utility, in terms of certain positions as well. So how many times do we see, and as we've already alluded to, James Milner left the football club, but in terms of having those players, you look at City and you look at Arsenal, you've got so many players that can very much be adept at playing across the back line, and even certain situations where they step into midfield. Look at the job, and a tremendous job that John Stones is doing. And this is where it comes down to a coaching point of view as well from Liverpool. Getting these players, could you imagine Joel Matip being coached by Pep Guardiola to go in midfield? In terms of a systematical point of view, I think he could. He's good enough on the ball as long as he did stay fit.
I said that to you this morning as well, didn't I?
Yeah.
I was saying Joel Matip going into the midfield because he used to play DM with Schalke. I said he could easily come in and do a cover role there if we wanted to bring in an extra defender.
Yeah, but that's last stage panic stations anyway, mate. But it's about getting that right profile. And Pavard is certainly one that would, of course, look at all that in terms of play right back, play centre half as well. Thinking he spoke in the past, in the last couple of months, that he wants to play more central in terms of a centre back role. You see him in France for the last couple of World Cup outings, and even in the Euros, he's very much being utilised by Didier Deschamps as a right fullback, or right back anyway. So for me, he's certainly a player that will come in, proven experience in the Bundesliga, proven Champions League winner as well, World Cup winner. So I don't think none of us would have any qualms, and he would probably come at a price that would, for me, Kevin and chat, would be doable for Liverpool. I don't think he's going to be coming in for 50, 60 million. It would be a case in point of 25 to 34, 35 to 40 million. And just quickly check how old he is, Kev. He's 27, 28, I think
he is 27.
Yeah, 27. So that sounds, probably would turn 28 next season anyway. But even still, you'd probably get 3-4 good seasons out of him. Maybe, hence why he's being linked with Manchester United as well, in terms of caveat, and that is whether him and his agent do want a lot more transfer weight in terms of wages. If he does, then sounds don't come to Liverpool in that. But yeah, he's certainly a player that has certainly a lot of qualities. And we're going to go on to the next one as well, chat. A fan favourite from a lot of Liverpool fans. That is not just the last week, but he's been a player that has certainly been spoken about. Gonzalo Inacio as well. Left-footed centre-half, yet again. I think you're coming across a theme, chat. Every Liverpool fan has said for the last couple of months anyway, we certainly need a left-footed centre-half, because if Virgil van Dijk gets injured, we are absolutely screwed, to say the least. But 21 years old as well. Got that experience. He's quite quick over the mark as well. Just like he's going to be turning 22 years old as well.
10 days.
In 10 days' time.
Yeah.
And the big thing to notice about Inacio as well, chat, if you're not well adversed in terms of the situation around the player, he's very much got a buyout clause in terms of his current contract. There is a massive panic currently from Sporting to very much get him to sign a new deal. As of recording, apologies if he's already signed that deal, chat, but a lot of the talk in recent weeks is that you want him to sign a new deal so we can get rid of that buyout clause, or even make that buyout clause a bit more expensive, in the region of 50 to 60 million euros as well. But similar to, obviously, David Hanko, as you mentioned there, Kev, certainly a player, like we spoke about before, he's in a side in Sporting Lisbon that is used to winning championships. So when you look at the clearances, doesn't make many clearances. He only deals with interceptions in terms of tackles and potential counter-attacks as well, Kev. You want to delve into a bit?
Because you see, he plays deeper than what Hanko will. Hanko will be right up on top of the players. So in between, he'd be more ball winning, whereas this guy would be an interceptor, or he would be clearing a bit extra. But he doesn't. He's not. He's more similar to what I would say is like a Martinez at United, or even similar to to Timber. So look, Inacio, if he was coming to Liverpool, he was coming in to either play to rotate with Virgil van Dijk, or to play on the side of him if we were to go to a 3-man backline and take off Andy Robertson or something like that. But it gives us that different formational change, So it would have worked out perfectly if we wanted to go 3-box-3 he would be that ideal person to come in on that left-hand side and protect Verge, and then Canata would protect Verge on either side, you know?
Yeah, it's certainly Kevin, all of us, the last year, really, if you've been around on the channel that long as well. It's certainly because we've all seen Robinson like the last 12 months. For me, Kev, he's not a left-sided centre-half, mate. I know people might go to systematically, he pushes on and he's good and he's aggressive, but you can see even when we played against Chelsea, they were absolutely spreading the ball out wide. And that's where the situation, not just on Trent's side, though, Kev, it's down Robinson's side as well. Because if he gets caught, and especially when we haven't got a 6, there's absolutely acres of space. Because he's not a natural centre half. His psyche is to very much go and bomb on and
really
go up the pitch. So it is only his natural game.
I worry for Andy a little because Andy Robertson's one of my favourite all-time players for Liverpool. He really is, and I worry about it a little bit because the style that Klopp played when he first came in with the heavy metal football, with the type of football that allowed, Fabinho, that had Fabinho and Henderson allowing Andy and Trent to bomb forward because they just protected the crap out of him. Really, that type of football is gone. I mean, I think I see him putting a couple of crosses into the box the other day, but I remember those first 3 seasons of Liverpool, it was just bang, there was crosses coming in. Remember, he had more assists than Trent for at one point in one season. He had more assists, and they were battling it, and there was a big talk about it for like a couple of seasons where they would do it. But ever since that season after we won the league and we dropped off a fair bit due to the injuries, and you could see that was kind of the end of that type of football from Liverpool when Henderson and Fabinho had to drop back into the back line. And that kind of, it overworked Trent, it overworked Robertson, and, they could have had another 2 or 3 seasons playing at that high level on those wings if it wasn't for that injury hit season. But, it wasn't to be. Andy Robertson's still fantastic. He knows how the system works when Klopp plays it. I really want to find a way that he integrates in similar to Trent as an inverted on that side. That'd be great, but it so far hasn't, because he likes being right out in that line, doesn't he? He likes being on the wing.
He's 29, he's 30 years old now, Kevin. As you said, he's probably everyone's top 3. I know for the fact he's in certainly everyone's favourite top 3 Liverpool players in the Jurgen Klopp era. We love him. We love Andy. I want to be seeing Andy past the halfway line. I don't want to see him being utilised. And people might go, it's the system. He does go forwards. But in terms of, from a defensive point of view, when he was playing left back, he was the best left back in European football for the last 5 years, 6 years. Anyway, he was the most consistent left back. Got him plenty of team of the years as well from a European perspective. So if we do go to a 4-3-3, of course, Robbo will get into the team at left back. But systematically now, in terms of the 3-box-3 formation, I think we are massively exposed, not just down Trent's right-hand side, but it's certainly down Andy Robinson's. And this is why we've all mentioned, and probably chat, I can see quite a lot of other names as well in the centre-back areas. Liverpool, we don't want to be focusing just on a 6. We need to be focusing in the next 2 weeks, and we're hoping that it's in other areas at the football club as well, because we all don't want Liverpool to have blinkers on and just be solely focused on a 6. Then there might be, say, an Asio does get pinched by another team in the next couple of weeks, or he does sign that new deal, and it becomes even more harder for any team potentially down the line when an extra 20-30 million gets added onto us.
I hope he's sitting over his agent and talking about this. If Liverpool really have genuine interest and they're looking at it, he really should not be signing that deal.
Big up there, Dante. Max Kilman from Wolves.
That's a good shout as well.
He's certainly one that will go under the radar there. Dante, he's yet again, and this is what we're all saying. We're not, of course, with like the big names, but even still, the data analysts, it's all right, us fans looking at the data from FBref and all that. But as we know, these big football clubs have so many data guys, Kev. They know data upon data that probably there's neutral.
If anything, Liverpool and Michael Edwards and all of these guys revolutionised the data, by data standards. Yeah, Kilman's a good show. My thing is, I'm not worried about who we get. I'm really not, because Jurgen Klopp has a tendency to turn these players into world-class players. And he's done it time and time again. And when he was redeveloping the side when he first came in, when you go back and you look at that side, that when he came in with that first draw with Spurs, was it? And then going on, and it was Crystal Palace or something game that he was giving out about. But you go and you see that side, and then how he developed it on, and then created world-class players out of it. I know he's moved on the majority of those players, because a lot of them are gone now. And he's going to try and do it again. And there's always going to be drop-offs, I mean, Saka was one of those drop-offs that disappeared out of the team when we thought, Jurgen Klopp would bring the best out of him.
I don't even know where he's playing no more. Is it Montpellier?
So it's attitude for Jurgen Klopp, it's attitude in a certain type of mindset, It's the reason why Liverpool don't buy Mbappe. It's the reason why Liverpool don't buy Neymar. It's the reason why they don't. And clearly we have the money to do so if we're bidding 150 or 111 million on Caicedo.
We just can't get players to join us, which is a bit weird.
It's down to the fact that Klopp wants attitude, and if the player has the right attitude, he'll be all over it in a heartbeat. Yeah. Absolutely. So it's a no call me for that one. TDM Dab, yeah, mate. Problem is we need him now. Their ransom 40 million, not too bad either.
Justin, we're in a situation where we do find ourselves in. That's the club's fault, as we all know, for putting themselves in this situation. 100% agree with there, mate. What Liverpool are lacking, pick up there, Medi, is a pure destroyer to anchor himself in front of the back line. So for me, Sangare or Paulinho and Matheus Nunes as a depth player as well. I think Matheus Nunes is more of an 8, mate, but certainly he's got that athleticism. But as the two lads you mentioned there, Sangare and Paulinho, an out-and-out 6. And you hit the nail on the head, mate. We all know just a nasty, someone that just goes around, and it's something of Fabinho, but the classic master of it. Especially
it's a good segue that we're talking about this right now, because of the boys that are coming up next.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at a couple of names that we've all been mentioning in recent weeks, but we want to mash it down, and we want someone to come in and be that lad. Like Fabinho was that in the last 5 years, and he's doing a tremendous job when he's playing in his best form. But yeah, perfect there, man. He just segued into you mentioned your lad.
Look, if anybody's been watching me and my channel or Jack's channel for the last at least a year and a half, nearly 2 seasons, ever since Tchouaméni left to go to Real Madrid, I started looking into Tchouaméni's games, and I started watching this other fella called Youssouf Fofana, and I was just like, this fella's a bit of a baller as well. And I said, Monaco really do tend to like develop really good CDMs for some reason, and CDMs that are capable of playing right back. So I'm looking into the thing here where he is a good CDM. Now, in saying that, you're not looking at a creative player. You're looking at a guy that, as you say, a destroyer, a guy that wins back the ball, a guy that has good passes, that creates fast, progressive passes, a guy that can win a ball and then immediately turn the ball into a fast attack. And this is one of the guys that I was picking for a long time, which is Youssouf Fofana of Monaco. And it just goes to show the stats here. All above the board where you want the destroyer to be is there. That's it. He's the guy that wins the ball back. He's the guy that also gets back and intercepts in front of the defense, which is what Liverpool clearly need to cover the back guys. So, progressive carries and things up in the top 13 percentile. You're looking down along the interceptions.
I was going to say this. Sorry, there, Kev, to cut across. The main one is obviously the XG that stands out for me, because if you got a DM that could very much chip in with expected goals or goals for the matter, I think we had that one great season where Fabinho did get, it was over 10 goals, and it massively helped us in terms of our pursuit as well. But the XG is in the top 30% of all DMs in European football for expected goals, and so it's interesting, mate. Just give chat a low down. Age.
Well, I don't know about the wages and stuff like that, but his age. He said, sorry, man. He's 24. Perfect age. If to come in, he's right-footed. He can play central midfield, box to box, and DM at the same time, which is why he's been made comparisons with these guys over here. They're talking like Nemanja Matic, Yuri Tillemans. I don't know why they're even comparing it to him, because he's not a bit of. This is a weird comparison list over here, yeah.
In terms of Monaco's historically, as we know, Paul Mitchell, obviously very highly regarded in European football in terms of scouting perspective. in terms of being quite high up in the Monaco recruitment. You look at the lads that have left that academy and gone on to greater things. The main one from 2 seasons ago was obviously Tchouaméni going to Real Madrid as well. And there's been other cases and players that have left Monaco in recent seasons. Bernardo Silva, obviously from obviously Monaco, and there's plenty of other names in recent years that have gone on to greater things. Kylian Mbappe as well, of course. Obviously played extremely well at Monaco and got his big money move to Paris Saint-Germain. So certainly it seems, and Fabinho, bloody hell, bloody forgot him as well. Obviously signed him for Real Madrid, I think it was at that time, and obviously utilised him in a right back position and obviously a purely DM sense. And it's an interesting one that you've brought up, this lad, Kev, in terms of Liverpool's. And this is why we mentioned other clubs that we've done deals with in terms of Portuguese football, in terms of Benfica. I think from a negotiating standpoint as well, given our previous exploits with Monaco in terms of negotiating, yes, it was 5-6 years ago, but in terms of rekindling that once good connection, in terms of if Monaco turned round and given how well and good, I tell you what, it's certainly a club that you'd love to get a good technical understanding from board level or a transfer perspective as well. Obviously, Taka Minamino still playing at Monaco as well, so we've sold to them in the last 12 months. So the phone lines, to say the least, would very much still be open, I'd say. But yeah, he's looks like an interesting talent, mate.
He is, man. He can, not only is he a bonus, because that's what I liked kind of about Fabinho as well. You know, when he was at the peak of his game, he intercepted, he won the ball back, he threw in a tackle, but then he could create a counter attack as fast as anybody else. He was good at pushing up and helping the forward line and creating depth touches and passes. And this guy's got all the same kind of attributes as Fabinho has, more so than what he did even, you know, when he was at Monaco. So, you know, yeah, these guys still cheap. I mean, the last I heard, he was going for about 25 to 27 million. So, I mean, you know, that's a no-brainer if you want to bring in, at least, if you're going to go for a big buy, and you're looking, right, where can I get the cover? Oh yeah, do we really want an experience by going for Paulinho? We get to that in a minute. But you could also match that with a Fofana and get two players in the same kind of category that can bounce off each other and, if need be, change games in different ways and, you know, protect games in different ways. So look, there's multiple ways that this guy would be a benefit to Liverpool massively. Yeah. This is why I like him.
Yeah, so that's one name, chat. Get your DM suggestions. If there's a name that we haven't got up, we'll have a little look as well. And we'll try and bring it up for chat as well.
I brought an extra one in there because I just read some news earlier, but we'll talk about him in a minute.
Yeah, I don't know a lot on this lad coming up now as well, but he's certainly one that people have mentioned in recent weeks. And that is Andre. Just go up if you can.
Trindade. Andre Trindade. The Castaneto. So he's 22 years of age and he plays for Fluminense in Brazil. So
when people have talked about this, Kev, as well, and let's not forget, like, when you do look at it's that notion of, oh, he doesn't play in a top European league as well. But I think there's certainly gaps in the market, especially when you look at in South American market and certainly other markets in European football that very much don't get tapped up as much as you would hope for. In terms of, you look at, I think Brighton today, even you've just having a little look at an Argentinian. I think he was born in 2005, another Argentinian young left back as well to bring into the football club. So it's certainly he's been a name that has been mentioned there, Kev. But
the stats don't kind of prove anything about him, especially in the. So he's very much a passer of the ball. He's very much a controller of a game rather than a guy that gets into to have to tackle too often. Now, his tackles are pretty high, which means he tackles without the need to tackle the majority of the time because Fluminense, they control most of the games that they're in. So if there's a turnover, he gets it back pretty much straight away.
Yeah, from the highlights and what I've seen, chat, not a lot, but in terms of, you can just don't want to dwell too much on this player, mate, for me, because I don't know too from what I've seen. But I think reports and a very well respected Brazilian journalist over the last couple of weeks have spoke about him being more of a very much more advanced six because as Kev said there, in terms of his passes attempted in top 2 percentile as well, in terms of playing 3,434 minutes. So he's played quite a bit of football, successful take on. So he's a 6th.
He just doesn't have to defend too much. He defends very high up the pitch, which is what Klopp likes as well. So maybe, you know, he'll develop his game as he goes on. For me, and if Andre comes in, he's coming into battle with somebody else for the number 6 role. We get him at a cheaper price. Very similar, maybe even cheaper than Fofana. But because I think, like, if we go after Fofana, it's probably going to end up being 35 million rather than the 25 to 27 we think it's going to be.
Yeah, so that's one for you, chat. I know a lot of you did mention it in recent weeks, and there's probably a lot more better people out there that I've seen a lot more of him, but certainly he's not a player that I've seen a lot. But if he was a player that is supposedly being on Liverpool's radar, that a lot of the journalists has mentioned in recent weeks, then go for it. And certainly for a price tag, when you look at that market, the Brazilian market is certainly not a market that is overly inflated, unless you are buying one of their wonder kids, and whether it's Barca, Real Madrid getting hold of them. A lot of the Brazilian attackers or South American attackers go for a lot more than, say, the notable number 6s as well. Look at Caicedo in that South American market as well. £5 million. McAllister coming from the Argentinian league as well. So, and he was 5-10 million that Brighton signed him for. So yeah,
it's probably one of the major reasons why clubs like Liverpool and us that ilk don't buy straight from that market, because no matter what, we end up paying an inflated value on them anyway. So if your Brighton's going there, your Wolves going there, whatever, they're always only going to get charged a few million. But if they say, "Oh, Liverpool's interested," oh yeah, 4 times that amount for them straight away. You know,
yeah. So, I still mad. I do shake my head, Kevin chat. The fact that obviously Julian Alvarez signed for Manchester City. South American journalists spoke very highly of Alvarez before he moved to City, but you look at the caliber of player Alvarez is now, so it just goes to show there's quality out there, chat. But Kev's spot on, and obviously work permits in recent years, over the last 10, 20 year period.
Alan.
Yeah, obviously we had Alan on the books, and we loaned him out, like, which seems every season, because we couldn't get him a work permit. But apologies, right or wrong on this, apologies. But I think that the work permit situation at this minute, in terms of relation to Brexit in the UK, I think there might be a rule coming into place, or there might be a rule currently in place, that there is availability in every Premier League team's squad for 2 players that can come in without a work permit, or can get a work permit from the likes of the South American markets and everything. So it will be interesting if that rule does come into play in the next couple of seasons. Then it would very much open up that corner of the world in terms of a scouting perspective, in terms of, as Kev said, you spot on there, mate, in terms of teams like Brighton, other teams in the Premier League that are willing to take more of a risk. And then I think Liverpool or top teams in Premier League or European football probably like, yes, sound, we'll pay the 50, 60 million because they've already done their development at their parent previous club, and then you can come in and hit the ground running, really, mate. But big up there, chat. 250 of you in here this evening, chat. Really do appreciate it. If you are new round here,
hit the thumbs for Jack. Come on.
Yeah, and you as well, Kev. You're a part of
I know, but I'm on your channel tonight, so let's get Jack's channel up and we get it sorted. Come on.
Yeah,
get them likes in
that as well. So and subscribe if you're new. Me, Kev, all the lads.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. So that was Andre.
Yeah, we got the next one. So the most recent one that we've been linked with, which is, Andre is, for me, if he comes in, he's a backup. You bring him in, high talent, will become a really good player under Jurgen Klopp and could overtake anybody we would bring in. But at the moment, we're looking at. We're kind of giving more props to guys that are working within the European market. So for the types of leagues that they're playing in. So yeah, this guy is
before we get into that,
Ibrahim. Yeah,
sorry there, lad. We'll get into Ibrahim Sangari in a minute. But man, he's made a great point here. I was speaking to the lads off camera as well, and especially over the last couple of nights. Ugarte, the fact that the PSG bought him so early on in the window, was a 50, 60 odd million pounds, or probably less than that. He was the answer to our prayers. I've done countless videos, Mary. I'm pretty sure you probably just discovered the channel in recent weeks, mate. But yeah, I've done videos.
We're not going to pay him 350k a week, are we? That's the difference. That's the reason why he went to PSG over any other club that was interested. It's the same reason why Caicedo's went to Chelsea besides being a fan. And it's the same reason why Lavia is about to choose Chelsea over Liverpool. They're going to get paid double the wages that they're going to get paid at Liverpool. Simple as.
Yeah. Kev, obviously talk about Sangare, and then we'll speak about Sangare.
Yeah. So Sangare, Ivory Coast, and 25 years of age, almost 26. Perfect age at the moment now to be experienced, to come into the midfield, and really be a good anchor player there. So we'll have a look. His stats are phenomenal, by the way. So over across all board. So because it's a much more open league in the Eredivisie. They're much more casual about their football. There's obviously the dominant teams there, which are your Ajax and your PSVs and your Feyenoord. I know my camera's gone over, but I'll fix it in a sec.
Oh,
but yeah, my camera's gone. It happens. It overheats sometimes. And so I need to get a new what you call it, that plugs into the back of the PC, the USB that
where you hiding, Kev?
I don't know. I'll be back in a sec. But but yeah, look, he's a fantastic player all over across. His progressive passes as well is up there, just as good as Hankos Fafanas and co. And for me, it would be an absolute no-brainer to bring him in here. He's been compared to the likes of Edison Alvarez at West Ham.
For me, when I look at that data, mate, he is the most rounded, all-encompassing central defensive midfielder that we've looked at tonight. You look at those attacking statistics, he does like to burst into the penalty area to get a lot of goals. Obviously at the right age as well. The big thing with Sangare as well, I don't know if you want to try and sort your camera there, Kev.
Let's undo it.
Yeah, there we go. Kev will be back in a little second, matey. But yeah, in terms of Sangare there, chat, in terms of him coming in, you look at the data in terms of it's absolutely phenomenal in terms of his blocks, interceptions, tackles, successful take-ons. He's in top 13 percentile, and that's what it's been a very much a theme as we have spoke about this evening, chat, in terms of that DM, obviously number 6, very much getting on the ball, turning and quickly transitioning to those attacking, forward-thinking line and passes as well, Kev, because that's what we've missed. That's what Fabinho done so well when he was in his top form, was transitioning on that swivel. I know a lot of people have mentioned already in tonight chat, and we've been watching a lot of people's shows as well, in terms of they've questioned whether he potentially might be a bit too slow. But as we've mentioned tonight, we're all wanting just a 6 that is quick over the 5, 10, 20 yard spaces. In terms of that back 3 or back 4, wherever Liverpool are playing, and just protecting his own area. We don't need him doing a 70 yards burst and run. We just need him to be compact and being extremely clever when he's on the ball and out of position in terms of reading the game as well.
You kind of want a Peter Schmeichel or an Alisson Becker of the middle of the park. A guy who can stretch his legs from anywhere without needing to run and win the ball back, and he's one of these type of guys, So yeah, his clearances are very well. He does get back and stay back a lot, and a majority of his passes, and his pass completion is very, very similar to the guy we were on about earlier. Like it's at 84% throughout the whole season. That's really good. So, and you're talking about XAG. You're talking about his tackles 77, still top 13 percentile. And that's in a more competitive league than what you're looking at with some of the other people that we've looked at as well in the Eredivisie. Yeah, there's a lot more competition in there.
PSV as well, obviously one of the top dogs in that division.
Yeah.
So what PSV do succumb, very similar with Liverpool, the likes of Ajax, PSVs, the Feyenoords of this world in the Eredivisie, is when they come up against very much a lot of low block systems. So Sangare, the fact that he's getting those statistics when he's coming up against 2 banks of 4 or 2 banks of 5 in most match weeks in the Eredivisie, for me, I love it. And I think this Sangare makes the most amount of sense. And in terms of getting bang for your buck as well, I would absolutely love it. All we need to do is get Sangare's ex-captain, we know who he is, Cody Gakpo, on the blower, going, all right, lad, you want to come to Merseyside? And it only takes a little telephone call, and given our great experience, I know there's a lot of PSV fans that subscribe to the channel as well. And sorry if we pinched him, but we'd look after them and we'd give you a lot of money as well. But he's certainly, for me, looking at this tonight and looking at the data and looking at other players that we've looked at, certainly I'd hope that he'd be a player that will come in and very much come in and very much do the job, mate.
Yeah. Look, that'll be one of my top choices as well. What I'm doing is I'm going along and I'm kind of picking the best type of ones that I think would suit Liverpool. I'm going to be deleting the other ones that are there and keeping the handful of ones that I'd say would be perfectly suited to a Jurgen Klopp type player. I've when you said I've already got Zubimendi ready to go, I spotted it in the chat. So I'll throw him up there while we're waiting. Yeah. So yeah, Zubimendi, Martin Zubimendi, and he's age 24. Plays for Real Sociedad. So yeah, him are fairly cheap. I mean, Real Sociedad are not known for expecting too much for their players.
Well, from a systematic point of view as well, mate. The player Xabi Alonso.
Would Pepe Reina come from there as well?
Villarreal, I think.
Was that Villarreal? Was it? No, I think he went to Villarreal. I don't know if it was one of them, but Sociedad. Yeah, Xabi Alonso came from there. So we'll have a look. It's not voting too well though, stat wise. In the league, he is more defensive minded than you know.
Certainly is. Big up there, chat. Have you got any other recommendations or have a little gander at a chat? As you said there, mate,
he's an aerial ball winner though.
He's certainly those statistics as very different to certain DMs that we've looked at this evening.
Yeah.
He looks like an absolute destroyer, and his job is to very much just break up play. And
he's more of a protector.
Yeah, protector, someone that would sit in it right slap bang in that 15-20 yard space in between your defense. So certainly one that would be interesting. But I think if you compare him and Sangare, I think Sangare obliterates him. But certainly in terms of a Real Sociedad point of view, play extremely good football. And from a technical point of view as well, in terms of structure as a football club in the last 10 years, they are certainly a very consistent Spanish team that is produced quite a lot of certainly top talented midfielders and attackers in recent season, mate. But
yeah, look, the stats are there. Stats as a DM and the stats as a protector of the back line is there. So he's a perfectly good central defensive midfielder when it comes to that. Because if you're looking, where am I? Oh yeah, you can see my. Can you see my? You can see it. So these are your main stats that you want to see for a central defensive midfielder. These ones are ones that you want to see if you're taking the next transitional stage. Like Fabinho was able to, or that Sangare can, or that Yusuf Fofana can, and and Hanko can. So this is where he would come down the pecking order for me in this list, because perfectly good stats in the DM, perfectly respectful. But then you come over here and you're looking at Sangare, and that completely blows you away, because then he adds all of this to his game as well, while having better stats down below. So I mean, this is all of these are highlighted yellow. All your DM stats, these are your transitional stats, and these ones are later. But I mean, come on, if a dude is adding goals to it as well, so
Kevin, it's screaming out tonight, and the two players would be David Hanko and obviously Sangare. Sorry, two players that's certainly from
and Fofana.
And Fofana from a data point of view, certainly two players that are over-exceeding, to say the least, over-exceeding what they are currently doing at their football club. No respect to their club that they are at, but you'd anticipate under Jurgen Klopp, when they'd come in, surround them with the likes of Van Dijk, Alisson Becker, Salah as well, then they could go up even more as well. There's still room to improve, because if they're doing that data and everything in terms of their current parent clubs, it's quite frightening in a good way. That it's.
And this is a centre back, so I mean he doesn't even need to do some of the defensive. That'll tell you, like, he's more of a transitional player. So I would bring it, like, if I had a choice, I would bring in David Hanko as well as Fofana and then Inacio underneath it, and you're talking like these would be great players to get in.
Yeah, and certainly the most important thing, and we'll probably we'll have a couple look at João Paulinho and Florentino Luis for the two final ones. I think we'll miss out.
Do you think? Yeah,
miss out him. He's all right. Very similar to certain profiles. I don't think we'll get him because there'll be a fee of a 70-80 million pound that Palace wants.
It's not the money that we want to spend.
But I think the most important thing, Kevin, chat, is the control aspect, because Jurgen Klopp spoke about it in the post-match interview at Chelsea. It's about wanting and getting that control within games of football, whether you be a centre half or a full back at Liverpool, even the midfielders and the attackers. But most importantly, a defensive point of view, how many times have we watched City in the last 5-6 year period under Pep? You look how comfortable every single player in that back line is, even Edison. Van Dijk is comfortable on the ball. Canate usually, when he's not got Joe Gomez next to him, I think Canate, when he's playing well, Matip, he looks a bit clumsy, but he's not clumsy. He's one of the most intelligent players with the ball at his feet at Liverpool. But it's getting that control. And hopefully, if it was a Hanker or players that will come in the next 2 weeks, just allow Liverpool that extra bit of control and license and a bit more dominance when you've got the ball as well, though, chat. So certainly, obviously, the core. Obviously, another name that is being linked, but as I said, certainly age profile 23 years old for Marley. Wouldn't come on big wages, looking like the reported wages £60,000 a week. But I think in terms of the sticking point, Kev and Champ would be the potential price tag as well.
Yeah, the price tag doesn't justify it. This is why I'm saying if you go for a David Hanko, it doesn't even showcase his price. He's probably on pennies over there in Feyenoord. He would come in and be on pretty much, he'd be less than Szoboszlai is, but he'd be pretty much on James Milner wages.
Yeah.
Your 70k to 80k a week if he came in, because he would have never seen that kind of money in any team. Fofana, who would be around, look, that's only look what Fofana's on weekly.
5,000 reported.
5,000. So you're getting you're looking at an ilk of players that will come in and with Sangaro he'll probably require the most out of all of those, but he's still it's PSV. He would have talked to Cody Gakpo. He would probably come in at about 100, 110.
It's about getting that level as well, though, Kev. And what Liverpool have done extremely well when we've done our business really well under Wards and Edwards was getting players when, as Kev's alluded to, in certain players with their wages. Incentives, really, not just in terms of coming to Liverpool, represent one of the greatest clubs in European football, but in terms of from a wage perspective as well. Liverpool can pay high wages, but you've got to earn it at Liverpool. It's not a case in point of if you turn 20, you get 350 grand a week at certain other clubs in the Premier League. If the only person that's on big wages is, of course, Alisson Becker, Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, and of course, Trent will be getting a big bumper contract, and quite rightly so as well. He is the future. But in terms of just getting up those stages and being able to have that incentive in terms of the wage packet, but in terms of the performance level as well, it would only leave Liverpool in such a much stronger position as a football club as well. So if you want to quickly go on to, not quickly, but we'll look at the Florentino Luis as well. It's certainly a player that I've spoke about in the last couple of months. If you just discovered the channel, certainly, I know Connor from the Cop Council is a massive fan. Right age profile, certainly one of those players.
Almost 24.
He's approaching 24 years old now. Very experienced. It's just look at the data now, Chas. It's absolutely phenomenal. He's an out-and-out 6. Certainly a player that ticks all the boxes in terms of a tackling percentile, and being one of the best in Europe. He's in the top 4 percentile of tackles and number 6s in the whole of Europe. He's in the top 1 percentile and top, it's ridiculous, in terms of 50 aerial duels as well. Something that Liverpool have recently struggled, I'd say, with Kevin recent seasons.
That shows in this, Jack. What this tells you here, when there's the limitation on the blocks and then the tackles and the interceptions and the clearances. So the blocks and the clearances, that you might say, shouldn't the DM be able to block and clear? The best DM on the planet is the DM that can win the ball high up the pitch, and that's where you kind of want them. This is the ilk we're talking about, these guys over here. So winning the ball in the air when the ball is kicked out from the opposition's goalkeeper, or lobbed up the pitch towards us, tackles as they're trying to get past him. So look at this, 96 percentile. You're talking per 90 minutes, he makes a minimum of really almost 4.0 turnover tackles. You base that around every 20 today. That just think if he was in the Premier League, that ratio would be much higher again, because he'd have to tackle a lot more. So they're talking about he's playing for a team in Benfica where probably Sporting and Porto are your biggest rivals, in there. So these are the games that matter. But look, it's passes attempted, completion is 89. He's got the best completion rate of passing out of nearly all the guys. Right up there next to Sangar, right up there next to Yusuf Fofana. And look, he's a no-brainer, really. Yeah, he's a no-brainer.
The one
thing is money.
Yeah, I was going to say money, Kev. We done a couple of videos a couple of months ago as well, didn't we, mates, in terms of the money, the price tag. He has supposedly got a reported buyout. It was 105 million euros as well, though, Kev.
Yeah,
certainly a player. I think we're going to get another player up. I think it was Bob that wanted to get it up. We'll quickly look in terms of João Paulinho as well. So that is certainly Florentino Luis, another great option. But the main one, certainly, that has been taking a lot of the headlines in recent weeks. He's the best of the bunch that we do currently find ourselves in. The one thing with Paulinho at Fulham is certainly his age profile as well. Just turned 28 years old as well. 6'2", out and out central defensive midfielder. The fee in the region, probably around 70-80 million, would probably get this deal over the line from Fulham. But you don't. It's not Fulham's fault. He's extremely precious to them and integral, really, to very much how they play in terms of their survival in the Premier League, though, Kev. But we'll go, obviously, into the data now, Kev, in terms of looking at him. But we all know, we've seen this lad play in the Premier League. Certainly a player that, as you can see there, absolute animal in the middle. And certainly what we've been speaking about tonight, it's absolutely ridiculous. But I hate this. I don't know how you feel, Kev and Chat. Premier League proven. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. But I get where people do say that, because certainly it makes that transition. You're not buying a player that might take a couple of weeks to very much settle into the Premier League. But obviously, as current recording of this video, if you are watching in a couple of weeks in the future, certainly he is currently out with an arm injury or a broken arm or sprained arm or whatnot. So he's currently out. But I think if he was to come back to full fitness, and it'd certainly tick the boxes for what Liverpool currently need. But we would be in a situation, Kevin, 2 years' time where we have been with Fabinho, in all honesty, for me, miss.
Yeah, like what you can take away from this information here is we see him in the Premier League and what he does. We know he can put in a tackle. We know he gets in the way. We know he gets in everybody's face when they try to hit towards, when they try to attack. We know he'll throw his body in front of things. We know that he's good with clears. We know he's great in the air. We know that he can battle anybody for a ball and stuff like that. But he's not the guy that then progresses the play onwards. He just does his simple job and hopes that the job that he's just done ends up in the path of one of his teammates. And it's hard to do with Fulham to control the game. So I can't take those passing stats seriously when you're coming from a team like Fulham who don't tend to really dominate games. So he can put in a tackle, he can win the tackle the whole lot, but then it might just get straight turned back over to the opposition because, it all depends. So he's more proven playing in a weaker side himself. Also maybe like the Korea Palace, but this guy is the much more finished article for me out of the two of those. So, his goals. He does like a shot at goal. He does like a tackle. He's not your creative player.
Yeah. I think this one, the targets that we've looked at, Kevin, Chat, this evening, certainly one we'd probably like, but when you think about the whole package, the age and everything, taking that into account, I think the final one now, Kev.
I'll get rid of Zavino, but this one, was brought up earlier. So it's Carlos Beleba.
Yeah.
So he's playing with Lille. So he's the next guy. He's only 19 though, but he's almost 20. And he's stats aren't too bad.
I'll tell you what, interesting reading them, mate. Good shout. Who was it that? But Chat. I think it was a Bob or Chat. Who was it?
I seen it above there.
Was it?
Did I see somebody?
It was one of his. But interesting reading them. Those data points there in terms of total shots. Looks like he's a young Steven Gerrard. Total shots, shot total 3 percentile.
It's a strike, this fella.
Well, obviously, that data is only being included of 531 minutes. So what's that? Yeah, about 4 or 5 professional games as well. So it's not a massive lot of data to very much take into account, really. But in terms of those appearances, he's certainly one that has got a lot of potential in the long term.
He's Lavia by playing 6 times less games, and then you throw the whatever it is, the Talil. You say, yeah, we'll take him off your hands there for 15 mil, and and give you a sell-on clause. So then that's the guy that can come in and back up in the number 6 easily, and then probably become a really good number 6. But
I think that's more or less we covered Kev as well, mate.
Forward, I feel.
I think we more or less covered that this evening. To replace, as Jake said there, I think Babbage only played 19 games. Yeah, Wiggs, 100%, mate. Ezequiel Fernandez, don't know a lot of Mercier about him, mate, but Ezequiel Fernandez. But yeah, I think are we gonna round up here? Klopp
I don't know. Ezequiel Fernandez.
Oh, yeah, big up there. Klopp told me that. Oh, tell you what, if you've got Jurgen Klopp's number, mate, give it to all of us. Got an interview with him, mate. Brighton want him for a reason as well. Big up there, Mary. Is certainly a player that Brighton have identified, Mary. So I tell you what, that's
for the young fella, yeah.
As Scouse has said, need to move quick on Sangare. PSG will bring out the after eights and the proper cups as well. They bring out the money. That's certainly what they'll do anyway. But I tell you what, though, chat. I think when we've all looked at these players, but certainly let us know if there's in the comments before we do shoot off the players that we've looked at. Has there been players that stand out for you? I think the certain players for me is David Hanko and certainly Sangare as well. Two players.
That's really centre back and a CDM there. So that's great, So it's either one of Hanko and Inacio, and then Sangare or Florentino Ruiz's money is too big. Yeah. So I don't know. But this is where am I? Say I'm looking at Ezequiel Fernandez, who plays with Elche.
Is he Fingo's brother? Or is he just called Fernandez? He looks like a Enzo. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know a lot about him, chat, anyway. So certainly one that I've seen especially today. But let's have a look at his data.
Tackles, interception, clearance. He's not much of a sit back defensive person. He's more of a progressive carries, touches. He's more of a number 8, really, isn't he?
6.
He's box to box a bit, I think, rather than the CDM. Tackles are great though. So he's a tackling number 8, really good tackle. So
interesting there, chat. As well as I said, we'll do a little bit more digging in terms of some of the players that you have mentioned this evening, chat. But yet again, it's been an absolutely fantastic live stream. Yet again, Kev, also thank you for joining me, chat. Really appreciate it.
Wiggs has asked me to look at one more person.
One more before we go anyway. But chat, we will be live tomorrow. Put your notification bell on as well if you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, so you do get notified when a video does go live on the channel. Hopefully we do wake up tomorrow and there's a bit more proper transfer news. But hopefully tonight has given you a bit more of an understanding that there is targets out there, and hopefully this is what Liverpool have been doing, obviously on a much, 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 much greater scale. They'll have all their laptops, all their data and everything, much more, and they'll actually understand the data a lot more better than all of us.
We've got Google.
Yeah, Google. But we'll analyse it as fans.
So this is the one that Wiggs was asking about.
Yeah, and what we think Liverpool need in terms of going to this coming season.
So he plays for Argentinos Juniors. And he's 20 years old. 20 and a half, let's say, almost.
He's played a lot more in terms of game time. So it's
yeah. And he's another winning the ball high up type of player.
Yeah, and it's a bit more balanced than
he's very balanced, yeah. Doesn't add too much to goals, but sits back a bit more and does the hair. But he's more of your Busquets type of player. Yeah. So is what I can see along here. So he'd be similar to probably Busquets. Who have we got over here? Yeah, KMB, Gumaris. No, that's not the same one. When I read stats like this, I'm looking at where it's balanced and what he would do. And
certainly
kind of Xavi, maybe, if you're looking at a kind of player, can tackle and bring the ball forward. But he's still a kid. He's only 20, so.
Yeah, so interesting there, chat. As I said, me and Kev obviously taking recommendations tonight as well from you. So we'll have we've had a little look at them as well, though, chat. And hopefully, as we said, give you a bit more of an understanding, give us all a bit more of an understanding in terms of potential targets. But really do appreciate Kev. What shows have you got coming out this week, mate, on your socials, please, mate? Shout them out.
Big one we've got coming up on Saturday. We're shooting the first episode of how's it going? We're shooting the first episode of the Kitmen interactive show, let's call it, something like that. Anyway, we've as some of you know, they've been in there regularly. We got sponsored by a chain of hotels recently, and they've offered us like a cavern type pub here, and we're going to be going and watching games, everybody together, and then we're going to host a show on the stage, similar to kind of like similar to what would you call it, the overlap in a way, where we integrate with all the fans from different clubs and stuff like that, and we ask them about their teams weekly, and they come in and everybody's on the mic, and it's me. When Jack comes over, he'll be on the show. We've got Kev there already. There's another Arsenal lad that's going to be coming in helping with the panel, sitting on the chairs outside. There's another guy from Newcastle going to come down. So there's going to be people that are going to be regularly appearing as guests, and then there's going to be us guys that host it. So that'll be good. So it's picking up a fair bit. So that's starting on Saturday.
Where's that?
It's filming on Saturday starting this Saturday in Kepler's in Mallow. That's from the doors are open at 1 p.m. So we'll start filming either side of the Liverpool game that we'll be watching in there. So it'll be we'll start filming maybe around 2 o'clock just to do kind of a bit of intro shots and stuff like that. And then we'll get everybody to sit down after the game's finished, and we'll just talk about all the 3 o'clock kickoffs and what we expect to happen on the Sunday and the Monday night. And we might be back in there again for the Arsenal game on the Monday night and get to talk to some Arsenal fans inside there, I should say, as well. But that'll be weekly, and it'll be put up on YouTube as well. So it should be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it.
So any Irish Deads or anyone in that vicinity at that time, go and check it out. Go and support Kev, me, and everyone. And even if you're a rival fan, if you know any family members or whatever that live in Ireland, tell them, check them out anyway. But it should be a good laugh. It's what all football fans I know, obviously, especially on YouTube. It's just about building that great community, meeting new people as well, and just engaging and debating as well. But most importantly, being respectful to everyone as well. So big up there, Tina. Big up to everyone. Massive thank you to everyone for the big support and massive support from Kev and every single one of you as well for the last couple of nights. It's been tremendous. And hopefully we keep up this momentum going into the new season. But Reds, as I said, I've enjoyed it tonight. Kev, massive thank you. But most importantly, massive thank you to every single one of you. If you are watching on the repeat and you're watching up until now, bloody hell, legend. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. But Reds, enjoy the rest of your night or morning, wherever you are watching around the world. And we'll see you tomorrow for another episode. Up to Reds. See you later.